I participated in a game jam for the first time ever, and I only had 72 hours to create a game. Not only that, but I also added the challenge not to use any assets and make everything myself, except for the sound and music. And to everyone's huge surprise, quite a few things went wrong. So, the theme just got announced and it's magnetic. And since the game jam was the SpaceScore Jam, it also has to include a form of competitive aspect with a leaderboard. The first few hours I was just brainstorming ideas while playing a few games of Apex Legends with my friends. And as we all know, I love myself some balls. So obviously, this game also had to include balls. Anyways, let's get this game jam started. As a youngling, I very much enjoyed playing endless runners like Temple Run or Jetpack Joyride. And so I thought, why not make a chill endless runner? Now, you might ask yourself, why do I want it to be chill? Isn't a competitive high score based game about sweating your ass off to get the best score possible? Well, yes and no. I want my endless runner to put you in a kind of flow state where you will automatically do the best score you can within your capabilities without having to try too hard and get frustrated. This will hopefully keep people playing and give them a sense of satisfaction without the stress related to the usual high score games. Anyways, now that I have a general idea of the game I want to create, it's time to find a way to implement the theme. And for that, I also have an idea. Basically, the player has the power over gravity, and so when he switches gravity, this will obviously move the ball to either up, down, left or right. And this will be your only way to control the ball's movement. And that was it for the first few hours, because it's 1 AM and I need to go to sleep. Okay, so the game idea is set. Let's get to work. First, I gave the ball some basic movements that would permanently move the ball forward. I also disabled the gravity on my player and made a custom force that would replace the game engine's gravity. From there on out, it was very easy to set up the base mechanics of changing the gravity on a press of a button. It was time to create the endless terrain that obviously every endless runner needs. This was pretty easy to make. I basically created the platform that I wanted to endlessly spawn, and at the end of that platform, I created an invisible collision box that spawns a new platform every time the player crosses that collision box. I also made it so that the platform behind you gets deleted, and of course, I run into some issues, but nothing I couldn't quickly fix. So, the base mechanics of the games are in place. I have a ball that constantly moves forward, I can switch gravity, which moves the ball up, down, left or right, and I have an endless spawning terrain. But moving down a cubic tube with a gravity controlling ball isn't enough to be fun. So let's give the player a way to die. For this, I basically just added the two first things that came to my mind. Lasers, because lasers are cool, and spikes, because spikes are pointy. Of course, another reason why I chose those two obstacles is because of my promise to make the game models myself. But I don't need to model anything if I just use basic shapes already available in the glorious Unreal Engine, right? Anyways, the way I spawned in my obstacles was pretty straightforward. I just reused the spawner system I made for my other game, Duno. But for those that didn't see that video, the spawner basically just gives a location and spawns an object at that location. It's, like I said, pretty straightforward. Oh, and I will forgive you for not having watched all my other videos this time. But next time... So make sure to go back and binge watch all my content. So, I took my spawners and placed them on the platform in the locations I wanted to spawn my obstacles. And soon enough, I had an endless runner with semi-randomly spawning obstacles. But as some of you noticed, I also turned the game first person because I thought it might be more immersive. So here we are. After one day, we have the base game set, and the only thing it needs is refining and adding some features like a scoreboard and so on. But that'll wait for tomorrow because it's time to go hug my pillow. New day, and it's time to make the game look interesting. And for those that know me a little bit, know what's coming now. I made the lasers glow red and I made the spikes glow green. And the game already looks way better. I also decided to return to a third-person view because it was harder to measure distances and sizes in the first-person camera. You also feel more in control in the third-person view. I also ended up missing the vibe of the dark cubic hallway, so I removed the light I created but made the character be the light. And this sets an incredible mood to the game that I absolutely love. You have this dark hallway with the glowing lasers and spikes, but everything gets lit up as it gets closer thanks to the light from your character. And now the game looks the way I want it to. And it's time to work on some UI. And like most of you know, the UI is the bane of my existence. Anyways, it has to be done, so I sat down and powered through it, and by the end of the day I had a menu, a score counter that goes up over time, and a way for the player to enter his name before he starts the game, even if that name is technically not yet stored. And that's another day over, so see you tomorrow. Okay, last day, and I still have quite a lot to do. I need to make a leaderboard system, which is something completely new to me since all my other games don't actually store the player score. So this is also a great opportunity to learn how to store previous scores. Of course, this also means that I have to do more UI work and work with arrays, which is still quite confusing to me even after I used them a bit in my previous game. And yeah, this was definitely the bigger challenge of this whole game jam. I spent at least half of my remaining time to make this work. But the important thing is I did manage to get it working quite well. So yeah, enjoy my magnificent local leaderboard. I have 5 hours left and the game is basically finished. The only thing left to do is playtest the living crap out of it in order to fix a lot of bugs and exploits. I also refined the movement and even completely changed some stuff, like switching the forward movement of the character from physics-based movement to non-physics-based movement. And I realized something very satisfying. The game turned out to be a mix of mechanics from both my previous games. It all kind of clicked together, and there's nothing more fulfilling and motivating than actively seeing your skill grow. And upon realizing this, my confidence grew exponentially. But reality was about to pull me back to earth very quickly, and all this because of a multitude of mistakes and bad decisions I was about to make. It all started with the decision of making my ranking system online. The reason why I decided not to do that in the first place was because I would have to open the project files on Visual Studio, meaning I would have to work directly with the code of the game instead of blueprints, and I had absolutely no experience at all with raw coding. Another reason was that I'm using Unreal Engine 5, and the software we were told to use by the SpaceScore Jam team is called Lootlocker and is only compatible with Unreal Engine 4.6, which is over 1 year old. But due to my newfound confidence and because the Lootlocker team told me that it will probably, maybe work, I decided to go on with it. And so I've blindly followed the instruction, and then Unreal Engine crashed. From there on out, my game wouldn't even open anymore. And you want to know the best of all this? I didn't create a copy of my game, so if I can't repair it now, my game's gone. I mean, how stupid can someone be? I have 30 minutes, everything is broken, I can't compile the files, I can't open Unreal Engine, I have no backups, I'm absolutely panicking. I spam every Reddit forum, every Discord server. I send a message into deep space and try to summon spirits. But no one came to my aid. And after I went through all the stages of grief, I finally took things into my own hands. I went into every folder and every file and removed anything that was tied to Lootlocker in any way. And then it worked. I built the game as quickly as possible and uploaded to itch. And 1 minute before the end of the game jam, I submitted my game. But the game jam wasn't finished with me. Oh no, it wasn't. Because after going through multiple breakdowns in 1 hour of fear from not being able to submit my game, well, after all that, the SpaceScore Jam team decided to give everyone 1 additional hour because some people didn't manage to finish in time.